Happy Red Friday, everybody. How's everyone doing? It's been a while since I made a video like this, but as you can tell from the title of this video and the gear that I'm wearing, SUU t-shirt, SUU hat, SUU sunglasses. If you haven't heard the news, SUU Southern Utah University is going back. We're going back to the Big Sky Conference. It's where we belong. It's where we should have been this whole time, in the Big Sky. Yeah, it makes sense regionally, geographically. It makes sense on the western half of the United States. The mountain range, the north, Arizona, Colorado, the surrounding states, Idaho, are all in the conference. It makes sense for us. We were in the conference for about 10 years, I think 9 to 10 years, from 2012 to 2022, I think, a decade. So, at the time when we first left, because I was here, I was a student, and by the way, I'm currently entering my last year at SUU. This upcoming fall semester will be the beginning of my last year, second to last semester. I have 2 semesters left at SUU. But during my sophomore year, my second year, or was it during? No, I think it was during my freshman year, my second semester, is when we left the Big Sky Conference for the WAC in spring of 2021. Well, that was when it was announced. We left my sophomore year, though, my second year in 2022. And it made sense at the time. It made sense because, and I was for it because most of the teams were in Texas, and I served my mission in Texas. So I was all for it. Didn't have to deal with the snow as much, warmer climate. All the teams were in Texas. You had Sam Houston State originally in the WAC. You had Lamar. You have Tarleton State. You had Stephen F. Austin, UTRGV, Abilene Christian. You even had New Mexico State, Grand Canyon, Seattle, Utah Valley, along with Utah Tech, Cal Baptist. It made sense. Basketball-wise, our first year in the WAC, basketball-wise, the WAC was an amazing conference. We made it all the way to the conference title game in our first year in the WAC. Our basketball conference that year was so good. You had Grand Canyon. You literally could have 6 teams in the WAC our first year, 6 basketball teams that were good enough to make March Madness instead of just one. Us, and then you had Grand Canyon. You had Stephen F. Austin, who was pretty good that year in basketball. You had Sam Houston State, who was pretty good. You also had Seattle, who was pretty good. That's 5 teams right there. I feel like I'm missing a team. But I can't remember. But our conference was so good. And then New Mexico State and Sam Houston State were the first 2 teams to leave the WAC since we joined. They were the first 2 teams to leave the WAC, and then others followed, like Stephen F. Austin followed. Grand Canyon now is going to the Mountain West. They're in the WCC, I think, this upcoming year. Utah Valley is leaving to the Big West Conference. I think that's what it's, Big West. And same with Cal Baptist. And I was wondering, I'm like, what are we going to do? What is us and Utah Tech going to do? Are we going to go independent? Are we just going to do our own thing? I wanted to go to the Big Sky Conference really bad, but I wasn't sure if the Big Sky Conference was going to take us, and it took us. And I am so happy. It makes sense. We have so many rivalries in the Big Sky Conference. Northern Arizona, they're a rival. Weber State, they're a rival. And now you have Utah Tech. We have at least 3 really big rivals in this conference. Maybe in the future, Northern Colorado could somehow become a rival with us too, maybe. But, yeah, our football team now can compete in the Big Sky. We were the laughing stock of the Big Sky when we left in 21. We were the laughing stock. Went 1-10, and then the season before went 1-5. 1-2-15 our last 2 years in the Big Sky Conference. What a joke. But now we can compete with Delane Fitzgerald. He's entering year 4 as the SUU football coach. His first year, he went 5-6 after turning a 1-10 program to a 5-6 program. Year 2 went 6-5. That was our first winning season since 2017 when we won the Big Sky. And then year 3, this last year, we went 7-5. So every single year we keep getting better under the Delane Fitzgerald. This upcoming year in year 4, it's playoff or bust for SUU. Playoff or bust. We have to make the playoffs this year. Have to win our conference, or at least make the playoffs. And then year 5 under Delane Fitzgerald, our first year back in the Big Sky, we should be able to contend for a Big Sky championship. Not saying that we will win the Big Sky championship, but at least compete, finish at worst in the top half of the conference. At least 5th or 6th place at worst under Delane Fitzgerald. So I'm excited, super excited. It makes sense. I like a lot of teams in the Big Sky Conference. I actually like Eastern Washington because my mom is from that area. I've been in that area. It's a pretty area. And their red field, like their colors are like the exact same as ours. And they're also a bird as well, an eagle. So I like them. I do like Weber State a little better than Utah Tech. I don't mind the Montana schools. Idaho State, I don't mind. Like, overall, the Big Sky Conference might be my favorite conference to follow. I love the Big Sky. Like, I'm so glad we're back. I'm also glad that Utah Tech is coming with us to build off that rivalry that we have. That could potentially be one of the biggest rivalries in the whole Big Sky. Like, it's growing. It's arguably the second biggest rival in the state of Utah. Utah Tech and SUU, behind BYU and Utah. BYU and Utah is the biggest rival in the state. But after that, you could argue that Utah Tech and SUU is the second biggest rivalry in the state of Utah. You could argue that. So, yeah. I mean, who's Weber State's biggest rival in the state? Is it Utah State? Is it like they can't really compete with them? And then, so we're totally the second biggest rivalry in the state. So I am so excited. 2026, I'll be not a student by that time. I'll just be graduated by the time we rejoin the Big Sky Conference. But I'll still go to some games. I mean, I'm probably be living in St. George then. So I'll still go to a lot of SUU games, but I'm so excited. How do you guys feel about SUU rejoining the Big Sky Conference? Sacramento State's leaving the Big Sky, and they're leaving to the same conference that Utah Valley and Cal Baptist are heading to, the Big West Conference, except for football. Football, they're trying everything they can to be in the FBS, to move up a level. They're trying everything they can. They want to be an independent in the FBS. I think it's so stupid how the NCAA is not allowing Sacramento State to be FBS. Like, there's been so many teams over the last 5 years that have moved up from FCS to FBS. They should be allowed to. But whatever. I don't really have anything to do with that. It's not my school. But, yeah. And also, it just makes sense to play teams like Idaho, Idaho State, Weber State, Northern Arizona, Northern Colorado. It makes sense to play teams like that instead of going all the way to Eastern Kentucky and in Tennessee with Austin Peay and Central Arkansas and West Georgia. It makes sense. Like, that didn't make sense at all, the United Athletic Conference. I hated that conference. Like, when the WAC changed from the WAC after the first year we were there, year 2, they changed it to the United Athletic Conference. Like, that was stupid. Like, it doesn't even make sense geographically. It doesn't even make sense going all the way to Eastern Kentucky. Like, it doesn't make sense at all. I mean, that's where college football sports are at now. But it didn't make sense. This makes a lot of sense. This is our home, the Big Sky, and we are not here for a short time. We are here for a long time. Let's go T-Birds.